What's going on, guys? I got a 2017 Cadillac ATS. Now, I did a short video on this a little while ago, but I figured I'd go into a little bit more detail with some of the screen captures that I got and everything on this. So we have a concern here for the driver window being inoperative. The customer told me that they installed a used motor regulator combo and it didn't change the issue. Window is still inoperative. So they did tell me there were some codes in it. They didn't really do anything more than that. That was pretty much all they did. So they called me in to figure this one out for them. So pretty much I like to just verify the concern right away. So the driver window, when I went to operate it, didn't go up or down. It was fully up at the time, but didn't operate in any way. All of the three other windows did work and there were no issues with those. So jumping right into the code scan on here, there was quite a few codes, but they weren't concerned about any of these other codes, really just concerned about the window. Now I narrowed it down to this U1534. This is a code that stood out to me: lost communication with device on LIN bus. Now most of the interior stuff like the windows and all that are going to be on a LIN bus circuit, not CAN. So that code stood out to me as one of the codes that I was going to be going after. Most of the time when I get these codes, I'm kind of just thinking of it like, so the driver window doesn't work. I have a lost communication with device on LIN bus. So I know that those are going to communicate over LIN bus. So my first thought is that there's going to be like a no communication with the component that's not working. So this is the code we have. I usually don't really look up much other than like a wiring diagram and then kind of just attack it from there on faults like this. So a little bit of live data. I am using GDS on this one. So you can see right here highlighted, we have the driver window main control switch. So regardless of if I like tried to command the window up or down, the data pid always stayed inactive and didn't change at all. So obviously a signal wasn't getting sent to the body control to operate this window. So now it kind of makes sense as to why the window wasn't working. So we'll pull some diagrams up after and dig a little bit deeper into that. But next thing I wanted to do was just check one of the other switches. So I went to the passenger window control switch, activated it. You can see this one says active. So I like to just kind of make sure like something else will work, kind of compare it to a known good. So in this case, the other windows work. Kind of just wanted to make sure that the data PIDs change just to make sure. Sometimes I've ran into issues where like data PIDs could be there but don't always respond, and you could have some weird issues sometimes. So I always like to kind of just like reference a known good. So right into the diagrams. These are GM's factory diagrams. They're always black and white. This is a pretty simple diagram. There really wasn't a lot to it. We have the two components on here, the window switch, and then we have the window motor at the bottom. So you could see I just did a quick little load test across powers and grounds at the window switch. This is a 5-amp fuse powering it, and then it's just a regular chassis ground. You could put your multimeter in series with like a bulb. I have a couple different bulbs, and I have some like stackable leads that are on the end of it, so I could plug the bulb directly into my meter, and then I could plug my leads into the bulb, and then I could like view voltage while I'm powering something up with the bulb. Now you could also do like a voltage drop test on this utilizing the window switch as a load, and there's various different ways you could do it. But for this one, I just used a bulb, checked voltage drop with a multimeter, and everything was good on this one. No concerns. So moving on to the window motor itself, same thing. We have a 30-amp fuse on here, so I went with a bigger bulb, and same thing, lit the bulb nice. There was no voltage drop on it. So with these two components, I'm not seeing any issues with a power or ground. So with that, I'm going to focus on the network side of it, which is going to be LIN bus. So we're going to jump into LIN bus and then see if we have any faults there, which at this point I'm expecting I'm going to see some type of issue with the LIN bus. Since powers and grounds are good, I'm imagining I'm going to see some issue there. Now, if there is no issue with that, then I'm going to be suspecting a component and be like some other testing to go into that. But for this one, we jumped right into just testing LIN bus. So at the window switch, we had perfect waveform here, really nice packets in there. It's a very clean looking waveform this has. It's just a 12 volt pulled down to ground, and that's pretty much just a LIN bus signal if you've never seen one. Pretty simple, easy to diagnose. For some of the LIN bus stuff, you can see, how do I word it? Sometimes you could see just like a steady 12 volts that isn't cycling with no communication. And I've seen that on like certain things where it's not like, I don't know if this is the correct terminology for it, but I believe it's like the body control will be like the master module, and then like the window switch will be like the slave of it. And sometimes I've seen it where you'll just have like a steady 12 volts coming out of like one of the slave modules, and you don't really see the communication until it's like on the network with like the body control module, but not like always the case. I have ran into like a couple times, but just a good note, if you see the 12 volts, it could show you that you're getting something from the module, but you may not always have like a communication from like a slave module per se. So when I went over to the window motor, that's when I found the issue. So you can see we have a super low voltage here, max voltage of 1.17 volts, and you can see it's like kind of trying to communicate on there, just at like a very lower voltage range, and it looks kind of terrible compared. If you look at this one, it's a very nice LIN bus waveform, and then this one looks really bad. So right away, I know that this is the issue here on why this won't communicate. This waveform proves it right there. Now, both of these I'm checking unplugged, so I know right now that it's not like the window motor itself pulling this down, because that is unplugged as I'm testing this. So for this, just a quick little test that I did next is I just jumped the two wires together, which brought back operation. At this point, the window motor was working and live data was changing, and pretty much the fault went away. So pretty much at this point, it's just going to be isolated to, we have a wiring issue between pin number 4 at the window driver motor, and most likely this J503, which is a splice in the door harness. Since we had a good waveform at the window switch, it proves that this like wiring here to X500, which is the connector at the door jamb, is good, because if there were any issues, you wouldn't have a good waveform there. And just jumping these two together gives this module a new path to communicate back to the body control module up here. So jumping these and having operation work proves out this circuit, and especially with the fault code clearing, data working, and the window actually moving up and down now, it proves it out. So with all of that information, we kind of isolate a fault between this window motor and then this J503 connection here. So in this case, one of two things could either take the door harness apart, look for the issue that's in there, or in this case, the customer just opted to get a new door harness, which is what essentially fixed this one. So I hope you guys like that. A little bit more of an explanation than the quick short. If there's any questions or anything, let me know down below. If you like this type of content, let me know if you like the layouts of these. I always kind of try some different layouts to put together. This is just like a quick layout that I put. Let me know if this is good, or if you guys have any other recommendations for layouts or anything, or if there's anything more you'd like to see. So that's going to pretty much wrap this one up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.